I want us to take a moment, just one moment, to think on what he's just said. In his introduction, he's speaking of a daughter of a mother that was involved in the genocide against the Tutsi. This is a daughter that has got access to education to the highest level. This is a daughter that has got responsibilities in different levels, as he mentioned, including working in the highest office in the country, the office of the president for 10 years. This is a daughter that today, as a minister of one of strategic sectors in the country, sports, which is also, I have to say, one of the coolest. I mean, clock it. And she's not only a minister, listen to this. She sits in the cabinet that is chaired by His Excellency Paul Kagame, the man who left everything, who put his life on line to save Rwandans from the genocide, to liberate Rwandans from the genocide, the same genocide her mother took part of. I just want you to take a moment to let that sink in. Ça ne peut pas exister si ce n'est pas un pays qui a été changé, transformé, si ce n'est pas un pays qui est ancré dans les principes d'inclusivité, de droit, d'équité, d'égalité. Un pays qui donne les opportunités à chacun d'entre nous. It can only happen in a country that is totally transformed, that is changed. And this is not propaganda. It's not politics. It's not hyping. It's real. We are here. Eugenie was here. I'm here. You will hear a lot of it here. You know, there's a word people like to use, untold story. These are the untold stories, the realities. And he asked me an interesting question. How was I able to overcome that, to go through that? What helped me are, first of all, the three choices that our country made under the leadership of our president. I believe most of us, we know these choices, but it's also important to repeat them many times because these are choices that govern our lives. The choice of unity. The choice of unity made that me and others who have same stories or even different complex stories to be embraced and be Rwandans. The choice of accountability that made my mother to have to face justice, because without justice there can't be forgiveness. Without forgiveness there can't be healing, there can't be transformation. That's the starting point. The choice of thinking big that enabled me and you all the opportunities we are going to discuss that you'll see. Those choices made me take my own choices. And I want to talk about those choices as well. Wakoze hirwa, muraho? Mumeze neza? Muri monde isi y'aba sportif tuba dufite uburyo dusuhuzanya. In the world of sport people, you always have a way you greet each other. So we are going to greet each other. When I say Team Rwanda, you say one team. And if I say one team, you say Team Rwanda. So we go, Team Rwanda! One team. Oh no, I don't hear you. I mean, I'm even screaming more than you. Team Rwanda! One team. One team? Team Rwanda! There you go. Thank you very much. So, ndishimye cyane kuba ndi kumwe namwe uyu munsi. natangira nshima cyane n'ubuyobozi bwacu buba bwadushoboje kugira ngo tugire umwanya nk'uyu, kandi ndashima cyane urubyiruko turi kumwe. Thank you so much all the young people in this room. Nous vous remercions les jeunes gens avec qui nous sommes aujourd'hui. Ndabasuhuje cyane. So, yes, you can clap. Thank you. I'll be mixing English and French and Kinyarwanda so that all of us, we can follow. I want us to take a moment, just one moment, to think on what he's just said. In his introduction, he's speaking of a daughter of a mother that was involved in the genocide against the Tutsi. This is a daughter that has got access to education to the highest level. This is a daughter that has got responsibilities in different levels, as he mentioned, including working in the highest office in the country, the office of the president, for 10 years. This is a daughter that today, as a minister of one of strategic sectors in the country, sports, which is also, I have to say, one of the coolest. I mean, clock it. And she's not only a minister, listen to this. She sits in the cabinet that is chaired by His Excellency Paul Kagame, the man who left everything, who put his life on line to save Rwandans from the genocide, to liberate Rwandans from the genocide, the same genocide her mother took part of. I just want you to take a moment to let that sink in. Ça ne peut pas exister si ce n'est pas un pays qui a été changé, transformé, si ce n'est pas un pays qui est ancré dans les principes d'inclusivité, de droit, d'équité, d'égalité. Un pays qui donne les opportunités à chacun d'entre nous. It can only happen in a country that is totally transformed, that is changed. And this is not propaganda. It's not politics. It's not hyping. It's real. We are here. Eugenie was here. I'm here. You will hear a lot of it here. You know, there's a word people like to use, untold story. These are the untold stories, the realities. And he asked me an interesting question. How was I able to overcome that, to go through that? What helped me are, first of all, the three choices that our country made under the leadership of our president. I believe most of us, we know these choices, but it's also important to repeat them many times because these are choices that govern our lives. The choice of unity. The choice of unity made that me and others who have same stories or even different complex stories to be embraced and be Rwandans. The choice of accountability that made my mother to have to face justice, because without justice there can't be forgiveness. Without forgiveness there can't be healing, there can't be transformation. That's the starting point. The choice of thinking big that enabled me and you all the opportunities we are going to discuss that you'll see. Those choices made me take my own choices. And I want to talk about those choices as well. Les choix que mon pays a pris ou a fait de l'unité, de la comptabilité ou bien de se rendre compte entre nous-mêmes en tant que Rwandais et le choix d'avoir une vision ont fait que moi-même j'ai aussi dû faire mes choix. Because it starts from me and you. I made 5 choices that I'm going to go through quickly. The first one, I refused to be defined by fear. And I used that fear to be the fuel to fight for what is right. Being in a context of post-genocide, you are a child of a genocide perpetrator. Believe me, you are scared. I learned about my mother's involvement 2 years after the genocide. When the genocide happened in 1994, I was not with my mother. I was with my father and my younger brother and sister. Everything that happened, we had a world apart. Because my father is a Tutsi, we had a world apart, we had another reality. Until in 1996, when I was in a classroom, one of my friends, a genocide survivor, because after 94, I believed my mother had died. And I was even telling people my mother died. I had no idea, I had no news, nothing, for 2 good years. She was in Congo. But I did not know. My father happened to know, and Eugenie mentioned it, sometimes our parents do not tell us the truth. Sometimes because they want to protect us, or sometimes because it's also hard to swallow. It was also challenging for my father to swallow that, leave alone to tell me that. So for 2 good years, I did not know where my mother was. I thought she was dead. We would tell everybody she died. Then in class with my friend, her name with my name, because in IDs in the past, they used to put the parents' name, but also their children's. She showed me a newspaper. C'est la première fois que j'ai dû entendre que ma mère a été impliquée dans le génocide. C'était 2 ans après le génocide, et je l'ai pris dans une nouvelle, les papiers, a newspaper. I saw the picture of my mother, I saw my name, the name of my brother and sister, and I could not believe my eyes. So it was very hard to swallow. And then the journey started. First of all, I was in the part of the survivors. Immediately, I became a betrayer because most of my friends could not believe that I didn't know that. How? So you were lying, you're pretending to be someone else, you're cheating. Rejection comes. And then you, as a person, you're going through denial. So fear comes. You lose identity. D'un côté, tu es un enfant d'un père Tutsi qui a aussi perdu parmi ses familles. D'un autre côté, tu es la fille d'Inheramwe. Tu es la fille de Mngamini. Et le monde s'est écroulé. Tu n'as plus d'identité, tu ne sais plus tu es qui. Et c'est la peur. But one big decision I took in that moment is that as young as I was, I decided to not be governed by that fear. I decided to confront it, visit my mother, to try and find the truth, went through a long journey, including one time I went in a commemoration event, and while I was seated there, someone came and spitted on me. And he was, what a child of Ngamini can be doing here. Nagashinyaguro. Do you know what is that in Kinyarwanda or in English or French? It's like you're coming to te moque de nous, or you're mocking us. It was hard. Of course, I was hurt, humanly. But I took courage and I told him, I am here because even if I hadn't lost anyone in my family, I'll still be here. Because I'm Rwandan, you have lost, my country has lost, and commemoration is not only for survivors. It's also for those who have parents, who have families that took part of that, because we all remember. And we don't remember only to be in darkness and sadness, we remember also to make sure it never happens again. So I decided not to stay in that fear. I decided to use it to do the right thing. including being where people think you should not be. The second choice I took is to not be governed by pain, but transform that pain into power that makes me work hard. Le deuxième choix que j'ai pris, c'est de ne pas être dans la peine, rester dans la peine, parce que c'est pas évident. En tant qu'une jeune fille de 12 ans, ta vie change, tout se bouleverse. Tu as la peine dans ton cœur, parce que tu ne sais pas pourquoi tu es en train de vivre tout ce que tu es en train de vivre. Mais je me suis dit que j'ai la peine que j'ai dans mon cœur, je dois l'utiliser pour changer, pour aussi travailler dur. And the third choice I took was to not stay in loss, but be governed by love. And I want to mention this because I know sometimes when I say this, people wonder, love in a context of politics and really. Love is the power that helped me, and I believe can help also many to heal and to be able to go over, and also to realize that I cannot do it by myself. I had to approach friends, family, people, and I have the system, I have the country that helped me to go through that. The love of the country is the one that has made our leaders to sacrifice everything, including fighting any sort of discrimination and all that has enabled us to be here. And then from that, I decided also to transform that whole shame. When you are a child that has parents involved in the genocide, you have shame. I know whenever I talk of this story, there's nothing glorious in saying that your parent took part in genocide. There's nothing glorious into that. There's no pride into that, but it's a fact. And facts have to be taken as facts. So you have shame, you have guilt, but I decided and I realized that I cannot accept to continue being governed by guilt and shame of something I did not do. I can't carry burdens that are not mine, but I can learn from them and make my own choices and decisions. So I told myself it's time to change this whole shame into shine by working hard, by adding new positive things. And I'm grateful to the leadership we have today because opportunities are there to do that. And last, which is not least, was to sit and say, I am not repairing what my mother did. I can't. She can't. Nobody can. You know, our president once said, we cannot turn the clock back, neither can we erase or change what happened. So everything I do, I am not redeeming my mother. No, I am not repairing. No, but I am making sure that I am planting and leaving a seed that is different from the one she left. So the tragedy she took part of, the genocide against the Tutsi, my assignment is to make it a triumph by making sure that it doesn't happen again. That nobody can stand and start mocking and tell us that what we are living and we lived is nothing. That you are making it a case. We are not seated here. You know, people like to say, oh, you're strong. Eugenie, we said, you're brave, you're strong. So-and-so is strong. Oh, Nelly, you're strong. So strength to go through all those painful moments, to rebuild everything that Rwandans went through on an individual basis or country. It's not decoration. It takes courage. It takes fighting. It takes pain. It takes sleepless nights. It takes resolution. It takes sacrifices. So we have not made these 32 years of sacrifices to allow anybody coming from nowhere to make it nothing. So that's my fight, and that's my decision. You cannot criticize or make genocide disputable, something we need to do a scientific research about it, unless you're going to come and start doing autopsy on us. Because those are not research. Those are realities. I'm not a research. I'm a reality. I'm a living testimony. She is serving a life sentence. I am not going to see her out. She's serving a life sentence, and she's there because of what she did. So what she did is real. That is why nobody can wake up and start bring negotiationism, bring criticism on genocide. Oh, let's think about it. Let's re-question. Young people here, there are things people discuss, brainstorm on, exchange on, and there are lines people do not cross. So we can't allow that. Don't be mistaken. Let nobody start changing your mind. Que personne ne te mente ou c'est une réalité. Nous sommes là. Je suis un témoignage. Eugénie, il y a les autres. Ça s'est passé. Il y a des gens qui sont responsables et notre responsabilité, c'est de changer. C'est de changer cette histoire. C'est de combattre et de remettre et de transformer notre pays. With all those choices I have made, that's how I was able to overcome and move forward. Quickly on the second question. What advice can I give to those who are living the same condition or the same realities or even different? Our parents, life is made of choices and decisions. You feel me, young people? You feel me? Life is made of choices. Our parents made their own choices. Nos parents ont fait leurs choix, ils ont pris leurs décisions. Yes, we are victims, but we learn from them. We also have a choice. Do not really continue being stuck in what your parents have been involved into, but learn from it. Learn from our history as Rwandans. Secondly, take a decision to also act. It is your responsibility now. It is my responsibility, our responsibility to transform. Third, speak the truth. Embrace the truth. One time someone asked me, you, Nelly, when are you going to stop talking about the story of your mother? You've been telling the story of your mother for the last 32 years. When are you going to stop? And I told that person, I will stop when I will die. Because at the end of the day, I carry that story with me. Even when I'm walking, I carry that story with me. I carry her name. I am not her. I am Mukazayire Nelly. But I carry her name. She's my mother. So I will never stop talking about the truth, because as the Bible says, for those who believe and read the Bible, they're saying, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So freedom comes also from truth. So for those who have the same background as me, or different or complex and what, speak out the truth, because truth sets free. When we share this truth, we become free, and we set free our next generation. The third one is embrace your history and story. In speaking the truth, one of the toughest moments I had in my life was to explain to my kids. Speaking of losses, life can bring a lot of losses, and this is what I love about Rwanda. Rwandans, we all are born with a resilience in DNA. Yeah. I believe so. Because, speaking of myself, speaking of losses, in the journey of my life, I also happened to lose my husband. He was a genocide survivor who survived with only one brother, with no parents, with no uncles, with no aunties in their family, everybody. We used to go together to visit my mother in the prison and take our kids to visit her. Even today, I take them to visit her. When they grew up, my daughter, when she was 12 years old, the same age I had when the genocide happened, she asked us once, but Mom and Dad, we were seated there, I'm going to close there. And it's very important because we are talking of next generations now. She asked us, with the younger brother who was more younger, 9 years, what happened? Why, you tell us, grandma, uncles, aunties, they were killed during the genocide. At the same time, you take us to visit grandma in the prison. And you tell us she was involved in the genocide. She asked us, should I love her or hate her? I think that was one of the toughest moments I ever had in this journey. You know, when it's just about you, you can build strength and resilience in you and fight. When it's about someone else who has become a victim, for the parents, when it comes to your children, you are helpless. You don't know what to do. Donc, un des moments très difficiles, parce que je veux que même ceux qui comprennent le français comprennent ça, que j'ai eu, c'est quand ma fille, elle avait 12 ans, avec son frère qui avait 9 ans, elle nous a posé la question parce que mon mari, qui n'est plus, que son âme se repose en paix, est survivant du génocide, qui a perdu toute la famille. Et moi, j'ai ma mère qui est en prison. Et puis, notre fille a demandé, maman, papa, vous nous avez dit que nous n'avons pas de famille, pas de grand-mère, pas de grand-père, du côté de son père, bien sûr, il n'y a personne, qu'ils ont été tués pendant le génocide. Mais en même temps, vous nous amenez rendre visite à grand-mère qui est en prison parce qu'elle a fait partie du génocide. Puis elle nous a demandé, est-ce que je dois l'aimer ou la haïr? Et là, on ne savait vraiment pas quoi répondre. Moi, bien sûr, c'était pire. Et son père a essayé d'expliquer, il lui a dit non, 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 toi tu ne dois pas aimer ou haïr, parce que ça c'est le passé, c'est les choses qui se sont passées dans lesquelles toi tu n'as pas de responsabilité. C'est ta grand-mère, tout ce qu'elle a fait c'est sa décision, ça ne doit pas t'affecter, ça ne doit pas faire partie du choix que tu dois faire. Puis, tu dois aussi pardonner, on a perdu grand-mère, on a perdu toute la famille, tout ça, mais tu vois, parce qu'il donnait l'exemple, moi aussi, j'ai pardonné, je vais aussi rendre visite à ma belle-mère. Donc, tu ne dois pas avoir la haine dans ton cœur. Tu es rwandaise, c'est le Rwanda, et toi, tu dois te définir comme ça, pas par rapport à ta grand-mère qui sont déjà vivants ou pas vivants. Ce n'était pas du tout facile. It was the toughest moment. But one thing I learned is that we have to embrace our history. And we have to make sure our children are aware of facts the way they are. Today, she's a grown-up girl, she's in university, she understands and she makes also her own decisions of how she builds her country. Today, she's proud to see, and I'm concluding there, that her mother, despite having a mother who was involved in the genocide, who's in jail, she is also a minister. So what you do and what we do as Rwandans today is what is going to speak volume to even those who have to come back from that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Don't make me cry. Merci, merci, merci. Thank you. We clock it, right? We clock it. Clock it. Thank you. Team Rwanda? One team? Thank you. Back to you.
cyane ku mijambo mbere na mbere ngira nshimira abayobozi bacu bari hano kuba mwaje kudusanga nk'urubyiruko ndihuta mu byubahiro byanyu avo hanze qualité utuntu tubiri akambere nagira mbwira urubyiruko amahirwe dufite yo kuba dufite igihugu gifite urubyiruko ruzi ubwenge rukuntu nkunda kuvuga ngo u Rwanda rufite imana zimba muri kumva jewe mu rubwa mbere na Mutijima yari afite imyaka 7 mfite 15 ariko n'abaministre dufite mu Rwanda batuma numva nshaje mfite imyaka 44 na amahirwe atabaho.
Sorry, wabanza kutwibwira?
Nitwa Christophe Renzaho nkaba ndi umuyobozi wa diaspora nyarwanda mu Faransa nkaba ndi informaticien sinzi nimba ibyo ngibyo bashaka kumenya ndi umunyarwanda. Akabazo nari mfite ni Jean de Dieu nagira nkabaze ku mbogamizi duhura nazo hano iyo turi gutumira abantu mu biganiro nk'ibi. Jean de Dieu merutse guhamagara umuntu tuganira iyo tuvuga u Rwanda bigenda neza akambwira ati nuvuge politique ariko ageze arambwira ngo kubera imirimo mishya nafashe ati Christophe usigaye uza abahutu kuvuga ko na aritangazo twakoze kuri RFI. Byaranunguye kuko ni umuntu twadusanzwe tuganira sinanzi uko asoma inkuru tuvuze ati kuki RFI iha ijambo FDLR akumva ko FDLR ari abahutu. Munamusubiza ate amubwira ati tandukanya ibyo bintu mukanya mwavugaga bo mu ishyamba ariko hari n'abari mu mashyamba ma building hano i Burayi sinzi uko nabivuga ari amashyamba atari ibiti ya ma building. Murakoze.
Twafata ibibazo nka bitatu noneho tugasubiza.
Mwiriwe kandi muraho. Ngewe nitwa Mukashyaka, izina ryanjye ababyeyi bampaye ku munsi wa mbere w'ivuko. Specioza ni izina njyana mu rusengero. Niko nyogokuru yamwe nzajya mbivuga kandi ndabyubahiriza cyane. Data yarambwiye ngo ninjya mu ishuri sinzamere nk'abahanyuze bakabisigayo. Ndabashimiye banyacyubahiro, muzadushimire n'ubuyobozi bw'igihugu bwatumye mugera hano katuganirira. Gushima n'umuco nyarwanda. Ndashimira na nyakubahwa Nkurikiyimfura watubereye ambasaderi agatuma abanyarwanda hano mu mabreeding y'Uburayi twongera guhura tukaganira. Nageze mu Bufaransa mu mwaka wa 2004. Mpageze nari mvuye mu Rwanda ngera kuri aeroport ya Lyon. Naje nk'umunyarwanda uje kubaka urugo, nareza abana 7. Umutoya wanjye muto afite imyaka 18 yavukiye hano. Nari umurezi mu gihe cya Jenoside. Ibyo bagiye bavuga simbisubiramo, ibyo kubaza abantu ngo muri bwoko ki muvuka he, hari n'ibyo turere. Ikintu cya mbere nabwira urubyiruko abenshi barahabangana n'abana banjye batoya, mwagize amahirwe atabaho. Vous avez de la chance. Navuye mu Rwanda ngewe Jenoside yabaye ndi inkumi ndi umwari waramye ariko niruka mu mayira yose. Nafataga nka FPR kandi batubwiraga ko ifite imirizo n'ibiki, nabafataga nk'abantu bahinduye amazi divayi kuko badukuye mu rupfu. Nabaga mu Rwanda nibwira ko ari muri paradiso. Ngeze hano muri France muri 2004 nari mvuye mu Rwanda suspense imirimo y'akazi, nari directrice muri Ligue Rwandaise pour les droits de l'homme. Natangajwe no kugera muri France ngasanga abiyita ko ari abadefenseri ba droit de l'homme twakoranye yaba abanyarwanda yaba abazungu bagifite ya ngengabitekerezo y'abahutu n'abatutsi. Numvishe mpinze umushyitsi. Nabyita rero ko hano hari bamwe bafitwe muri otage d'aliénation mentale, abantu baboshwe n'ingoyi y'ibyatubayemo. Maître Gisagara yababwiye ngo iyo ugiye muri metro barakubaza ngo uri umututsi, uri umuhutu, uhunze jenoside n'ibindi. Niko bimeze. Uti rero twakora iki? Twakora ko twitinyuka nk'abanyarwanda ndetse même les étrangers, parce qu'ici nous ne sommes pas des Rwandais uniquement, mais qui a compris la réalité des choses. Ngwi ntamenya irira ku muziro. Rubyiruko twebwe batubwiraga ko ngo abatutsi bavuye muri Ethiopia, ngo abahutu bavuye muri Chad. Ndi umuntu ugira amatsiko cyane, na n'ubu ndacyakora ubushakashatsi. Nta mututsi uba muri Ethiopia, nta muhutu uba muri Chad. Kugeza ubu hari n'umuntu muhura akakubwira ko ndi umunyarwanda ari strategie ya guverinoma. Sinigeze mbuka umukozi wa guverinoma, ariko nafashe engagement personnel yo gushinga association iri dédiée pour le dialogue interculturel kugira ngo aho naje ntura mbwira abazungu naje nsanga nta munyarwanda wari uhatuye ko bo ubwabo baboshwe na désinformation.
Turashaka gusaba ngo urase kunti.
Habaho ibyo bita falsification de l'histoire. Rero no muri France ururimi rw'igifaransa rwavuye kuri unification d'oralité. Hano abagorowa ntibakivuga ngo regorwa, reboroto n'ibindi. Nk'abanyarwanda dufite uburenganzira bwo gukora mu isoko yacu tukiyubakamo ibyari bigize abasokuruza bacu nk'abanyarwanda. Nicyo nashaka kuvuga gusa, tukitinyuka.
Young people, do you have questions?
Hari abajene hariya basabye umwanya, reka mbashyire mikoro. Oui, namwe ndabageraho, ne vous inquiétez pas.
Murakoze. Nitwa Kwizera Josue, naturutse i Kigali, and I'm going to tell you two different versions of myself. Mbere na mbere, version yanjye ya mbere yavutse nyuma ya Jenoside, nakuriye mu Rwanda, kandi nagira mbabwire ko kugeza iki gihe iyo version nta na rimwe yari yahura na discrimination cyangwa se abantu bazana ivangura amoko, nta na rimwe yari yahura nayo. Ariko hari indi version yanjye ya kabiri yavutse 2020 mu gihe cya COVID, ubwo natangiye gukoresha social media. Nibwo natangiye gukoresha izina rya Saura cyaryamye cyangwa byuka vuba, bamwe bashobora kuba barizi. Icyo gihe nayikoreshaga just for fun, ariko biza kurangira sanze hariyo indwara. Nasanze hariyo abantu bitwa ibigarasha birirwa bakwirakwiza ivangura, birirwa baza mu buzima bwanjye. Nta muntu wari warigeze ambwira ngo ntabwo uri umunyarwanda, ariko niho hantu hambere nabisanze. Batereka reka uzabaze wowe, ntabwo uri umunyarwanda, batangira kunyita andi mazina. So the problem was, haba ababyeyi banjye nanjye ubwanjye nta rimwe twarakigeze dusohoka na rimwe mu gihugu, ariko umuntu uri kubimbwira nta nubwo ari mu gihugu, wari hanze, ngo wapi ntabwo uri umunyarwanda. Abatereka ariko uzanabaza izo nirenge. Ariko rimwe na rimwe abantu abajene, ngiye kuvuga version y'abajene benshi tuziranye mu Rwanda, ntabwo uzasanga ari ibintu banumva cyangwa se bashyira mu mitwe yabo, keretse abantu baba online, baba hanze, bashaka gusenya u Rwanda gusa, nibo bantu uzabisangana. So iyo version niyo of course yabanje kuba confused, ariko at the end I took decision to fight against those narratives, kuko ni ibintu nabonaga bishaka gusenya abanyarwanda. Rero hano hari abantu baza u Rwanda ngo kuri ya social media gusa, batari bagera mu Rwanda ngo babe mu buzima, bamenye ngo ubu busanzwe, bagende batembere. ngenda ndakeka ndi umuntu uhamya ko uramutse ugeze mu Rwanda ukavuga ati ngiye gufata telefone nyibike, ushobora kumara imyaka 5 10 nta muntu wari wakubwira ngo ntabwo uri umunyarwanda, ngo kwita umututsi, kwita umuhutu. Ntibishoboka na rimwe, kuko u Rwanda ni urw'amahoro, ni u Rwanda rwunze ubumwe. Njye nirwo Rwanda nzi, nirwo nakuriyemo, kandi nirwo n'ubu ngubu mbayemo. Ubu ngubu uramutse ugiye ugasanga rwose abajene bari ahantu, ukagerageza kumvisha ko atari umunyarwanda, nimba ari kwikinira basket, bro, mwaserera bimwe bya nyabyo, ntabwo mwabyumvikana. Nge message numvaga mbafitiye nk'abantu, hari bamwe na bamwe batari bagera mu Rwanda, batari experiencing wenda iyo life yanjye sanzwe mbayemo. Nababwira ngo Rwanda is open and we can make better choices than our fathers did. When they were in ages that we are in right now, they choose discrimination and they did choose to make a genocide. But I can say, let's choose better and choose to invest in Rwanda. There are youth and they also need to work. You have different opportunities. You can come to Rwanda and you can work together to improve our country, to make it better. If you come and visit museums, you will see there is a place where you have been, which is not good, and there is where we are today. And I'm sure from that you can see where we aim to be. As our president always say, we choose to stay together, think big, and the next is...
Urakoze Josue, reka duhe n'abandi ijambo.
Urakoze cyane, nicyo nashaka kubabwira. Rwanda is open for you guys, kandi tuzabakira.
Tumaze kubona ibitekerezo byinshi, urakoze Josue, ariko twasabaga ngo munabaze n'ibibazo, kuko ndibaza ko hari ibyo mwifuza kubaza. Ariko you need to be brief.
Bonjour tout le monde. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Chaka. Je viens de Bruxelles. J'espère que vous allez bien. En tout cas, merci à tout le monde. Merci pour l'invitation. Moi, depuis ce matin, je suis vendu. J'ai envie d'aller au Rwanda. J'ai envie d'aller habiter là-bas et tout. Je pense comme la majorité des gens ici. J'ai été vendu quand je suis descendu du bus, quand j'ai vu toutes ces belles personnes ici devant moi. Mais à côté de ça, dans ma vie professionnelle, je suis vendeur. Ok? Mais donc, quand on vend n'importe quel produit, il y a toujours une faille quelque part. Et j'ai l'impression que, quelque part, this has become an echo chamber pour les gens qui connaissent le terme. Il n'y a que des bonnes choses. On parle de que des bonnes choses au Rwanda. Et moi, pour moi, je suppose que tout grand homme connaît ses forces et ses faiblesses. Excusez-moi. Je n'ai pas encore entendu parler des faiblesses du Rwanda aujourd'hui, qu'on pourrait améliorer, qu'il faudrait même mettre en avant pour justement avoir ce dialogue de comment est-ce qu'on va s'y prendre pour renforcer justement ces faiblesses. Merci.
Yes, have the microphone. Yes, thank you so much. My name is Samantha Gahamanyi and I come from Italy. I would like to ask the question, 3 decades, almost 32 years, after the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, how should we understand reconciliation today? Different panelists have talked about bringing together the families that lost their people and the families that made that happen. But how can we understand reconciliation today? And is it something that begins in the heart of an individual? Is it something shaped by the government, sustained through national policy? Or is it a responsibility that as society we owe to give? And how can those dimensions complement together to bring a unity in Rwanda that we want to shape for the future. Thank you.
Barakoze cyane. Ndagira ngo nibatwemerera basubize cyangwa bakore comment ku byabajijwe, hanyuma tuze gusoreza ku muntu umwe uri muri kiriya gihande utabajije, kuko turebye aho amasaha ageze, umunsi uciye ikibu, tubaza ariko tureba n'amasaha kugira ngo bize kugenda neza. Reka tubahe umwanya kugira ngo basubize.
Murakoze cyane. Ngira ngo ni Christophe wibazaga ko abo muri FDL bavuga ngo abahutu ntibahabwa ijambo. Niba numvise neza, ariko umuntu yakwibaza ngo ese koko FDL ntabwo ari abahutu, ni abicanyi. Kandi abicanyi ntabwo ari bo bavugira umuntu uwo ari we wese. Cyakoze niba bumva ari abahutu nyine koko ni ibyo, nabo bahutu babicanyi. Ariko mu Rwanda turi abanyarwanda, cyakoze tuva mu mateka ashobora kuba atandukanye. Hari abafite amateka yari abahutu kera, abatutsi, abatwa, ariko ni amateka. Uyu munsi rero umuntu tuvugira, icyambere ni guverinoma yacu. Icya kabiri ngo muba mu mahanga n'abambasaderi dufite hano, sibyo? Cyangwa bafite ubutumwa bw'abanyarwanda. Ntabwo umuntu wamaze abantu, ntabwo abantu bisha abantu, kandi hari n'icyo bajya bitwaza ngo urumva ngo FDL ngo barashaje. FDL nta nubwo ari umuntu gusa, ni ideology. Ngo abantu bavoma muri iyo ideology, nababwiye inkomoko yayo niho nabitinzeho. Mu itangiriro ryayo, mu nama yakozwe iwacu, iri kumwitwa perezida Sindiko bwabo Kambanda Kabirigi generali, bagahuza n'abandi bakavuga ngo twiyemeje kwica abatutsi, tukica nabo tubabanye nabo. Abo nibo bakwiriye kuvugira umuntu wari we wese. So rero FDL nabicanyi, nta muntu umwe bavugira, ntacyo tubashakaho. Tumenye ko abatuvugira ni guverinoma yacu. Ni nayo mpamvu ubona abayobozi bacu twazanye hano kugira ngo bagaragaze ko bagera hose ku isi bakavugira abanyarwanda, kandi bagafata ko abanyarwanda babumwe. Unyuranya n'icyo ni umwanzi w'igihugu, ni umwanzi w'ibyiza, ni umwanzi w'Imana. Nge numva aricyo navuga, nta mpamvu yo kumuha umwanya. Murakoze.
Thank you. Allow me to attempt to address the two questions, one comment and another question they've asked. What are Rwandans or Rwanda's weaknesses, and which areas do we still have to improve? We have to contextualize. I'll address them in two aspects. There are societal or social ones and developmental ones. Societal ones, we are a fragile country. We're a fragile country in this sense because of our history, because of this we're discussing here. It's fragile. We have a complex history and hence a complex reality or current reality. Generational, if you try to contextualize rebuilding a country where you're having people coming, those who are survivors who are in the country, those coming from different countries, you are struggling with rebuilding everything at the same time: infrastructure, people's hearts, social, medical, education, and all that. That is what constitutes the weakness we still have now, is that we are patching into a small time where we have to catch up with all that. So that fragility is where the weak spot can be. And that is where we insist. Actually, when we are having discussions like this, it's not that we are talking about the only good things, as you said, is that we are trying to show and to point on the strength we have that we have to fetch into to make sure that we address the weakness that is there. So the first one is that it's a country that has a complex context situation where we rely mostly on our population, and that is a population that has all this background we are talking about. So it's very, very important to be aware of that fragility and know what is going to be the hook or what is going to make us not fall or collapse because of that. That's why the discussions stay long and long on identity, on unity, on understanding who we are. The second one is economical. We are a developing country, but we are still a country that do not have, natural resources that are extreme. We're still a country that is discovering what we even have, while you have to catch up with the pace of where the world is today and is heading today. So that makes this also the weak spot, because we don't have time to wait. We are just 32 years old, but we need to catch up with where the rest of the world is heading. So we need to go on a higher speed, and the requirements are high. It's demanding. So that is a reality we have to see, and the weakness we do have as a country, because you need to catch up. There's no time to waste, and you need to prioritize, but what do you prioritize and what do you leave? Because everything is important, everything needs to come up and catch up quickly. So we are still a developing country. We have moved so far into combating poverty, but we still have poverty. We are not saying that we are only at 1,004 of GDP per capita. Our aspiration or vision is that by 2035, we are at least at 4,000. Do you realize 2035 is only in 9 years? So imagine moving from 1,000, which we fought to reach to in 32 years, and then we need to be at 4,000 in the rest of 9 years. So that requires a lot of effort, innovation, focus, changing the way we used to work, and that's why we want to tap into you. The young people who understand the future, who are having access to knowledge, that think differently, because we need to do, when you want to achieve something you've never achieved, you have to do something you've never done. So in the next 9 years, we have to work in a way we've never worked to catch up with 4,000. In 2050, that's only in 25 years. In 2050, we want to be able to be at 12,000 of GDP, and that's where we will be saying, okay, we are getting somewhere. So you see the speed we have to move. So that's where our weakness is that we need to catch up with so much, in so much time, with a lot of requirement, and the world is not waiting for us. It's also moving. They are going to the moon, where we are still striving to get to 4,000 GDP per capita. So that's where the sensitivity and the weakness of the country still is. But we are still hopeful that we'll get there, and we'll work on that. So to answer to your question, reconciliation, is it individual? Is it society? Does it have to be in government policy? I would say it takes all the three. Why? The stories you've seen here is that the first resource we have as Rwandans, even as our president said, are Rwandans, right? But because of the Rwandans you're talking about, are Rwandans who have these stories, these backgrounds you've seen here, and even the ones you saw in the first panel. It takes everyone at the end of the day to be able to get there. Because the realities we've lived are not only something that happened to the country and the community. The particularity and sad reality of the Rwandan context is that our genocide is not an external population that came and killed Rwandans. We killed ourselves. We killed ourselves. Mothers killed children, children killed mothers, fathers killed. So every single Rwandan has an impact in his life or her life because of the genocide against the Tutsi. So because of that, our stories are individualized. So it cannot be repaired like in any other context where you say, this is the villain, this is the righteous. It's not the case in Rwanda. It's so twisted. It's mixed. So for that, it requires individual effort. It requires society effort, because we have to coexist together. We have to live together. And then, of course, it requires leadership, because we know the role leadership plays. That's why you will see that in the role of the leadership, there are rules and regulations that will make sure that justice is there, that will make sure there are do's and don'ts. But at the same time, those rules and regulations will not be implemented if there is not reality of embracing that we have to make this through as a society. But at the same time, it has to come to the decision I will take. That's why we sat here, Eugenie shares, I share, Mutijima shares, Barebe shares, Jean de Dieu shares, all of you. Every Rwandan has a story to tell, but also a decision to take in that reconciliation journey. So it takes all of that because it is in us. That's the particularity of our context. Thank you.
Murakoze, mutwemere twafata ibindi bibazo bitatu, ari babiduhereye uburenganzira. Iki gihande nta muntu turahamiko, reka tubareke nabo babaze. Hanyuma ndagaruka muri iki gihande, tuze kugaruka no kuri ruhande.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther, and I'm from Sweden. Yes. Thank you. And I just wanted to point out what this wonderful panel with its wonderful role models, but also the panel before and all our elders that have spoken before, everyone in our government have spoken about the power in unity. Because during these 21 years in my life, it's not a lot, but I wanted to point out that I'm raised by my mother and father, who are Rwandians, but I will not consider only my mother and my father to be the people that have raised me and had became the person I am today. Because I will also point out the Rwandans in Sweden. Because together as a unity, as a family, we are stronger. And that's just one thing I wanted to say to the youth, that don't forget that you're never alone. You're never alone, and we are really stronger together. And let us just continue to build up this strong unity together, and don't let our country down and our people down.
Ngiriwe neza, nanjye mfite ikibazo cyo kubaza Minisita w'Ubumwe n'Ubwiyunge kijyanye n'aho tugeze, nimba yabasha kutubwira muri make aho tugezeho icyizere cy'ufite par rapport y'Ubumwe n'Ubwiyunge, kuko muri twebwe abenshi dufite amateka, ababyeyi bacu bagize amateka biratwafectinga, donc bamwe bari traumatize, ndavugira mu izina ry'abantu bose, ariko kuko twe dushaka ko avansa tukagitera imbere. Eske hari icyizere cyangwa haracyari andi mageneration yo kurwanya iyo ngengabitekerezo? Twayihera he? Mwaje kutuganiriza uyu munsi, turifuza gukomeza twubaka u Rwanda, ariko se ababyeyi bacu abo tusanga mu Rwanda nabo bariho baragenderaho muri iyo vitesse turimo, cyangwa abana bacu n'abazadukomokaho bazahura kandi n'ingengabitekerezo? Murakoze.
Hanyuma Robert, s'il vous plaît, mutwemereye tugafata ikibazo cya nyuma kuri iki gihande. Nidusoza mubitwemereye twagaruka kuri kiriya gihande. Muhumure, baduhaye umwanya wo kwidagadura, turaza kubaza, nta muntu uri bucikamo. Ndabashimiye.
Murakoze cyane. Jewe nitwa Souvenir Umutesi. Nitwa Souvenir Umutesi, nkaba mpagarariye abanyarwanda mu Bwongereza, nkaba najanye n'urubyiruko rwaturutse mu Bwongereza. Icyanjye ntabwo ari ikibazo, ni ukubashimira no gutanga icyifuzo. Kuba mwashoboye kutwegera mukegera n'urubyiruko kugira ngo mudufashe muri uru rugendo turimo rwo kugira ngo dukangurire urubyiruko rwacu ibyo igihugu cyacu rubafitiye n'aho rubajyana. Iki cyifuzo ni iki gikorwa mwakoze, reka nshimire Minwe Ubumwe n'Ubufaransa bwateguye iki kirori. Ni ikirori cyiza cyane. Rero icyifuzo cyanjye ni uko iki gikorwa kitaba a one off, cyaba igikorwa ngarukamwaka. Impamvu mbivuga, urubyiruko mubona muri iki cyumba uyu munsi, ndabizeza ko hatariho abaturutse mu mahanga, ukuyemo abaturutse mu mahanga, iki cyumba cyakabaye cyuzuyemo abana b'urubyiruko bo mu Bufaransa gusa. Ariko iyi ni intambwe nziza, ni intango nziza, mureke tuyikomeze. Noneho nkaba nsaba ko igikorwa ngarukamwaka tuzabibafashamo nko mu Bwongereza kugira ngo tugihosting next year. Ni icyifuzo mbasabye. Yibuze reka noneho mfashe n'abana, kuko iki ni ikibazo twahuye nacyo cyane. Ntabwo naba nahagurutse kuvuga ngo yenda no kubasemurira, kuko nabyo birakenewe. Yeah. On behalf of those who don't understand Kinyarwanda, I'm going to summarize my recommendation and request. I just want to thank our government and the people who organized this event. This is a beautiful event for them to be intentional and to choose and meet our young people in diaspora. So for that reason, I'm requesting that this shouldn't be a one-off event. It should be a yearly event, for those who don't understand Kinyarwanda. Young people, is that a good thing that you'd like to see, that every year this event should continue?
Thank you, thank you.
And for that reason, as the leader of the Rwandese community in the UK, I've requested that the next year's event should be hosted in the UK. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I go by the names of Imanzi Angela, and I came from Hungary. So my question was, imagine we meet a year from now. What physical manifestation of your testimonies would you like to see in the youth today? As Honorable Kelly said, that she wants to tap into our potential. So how can we do that from where we are? How can we presently be effective in doing whatever you're teaching us today? Thank you.
Ikibazo cya nyuma ariko tukajya ku bisubizo.
Ok, bonjour. Je m'appelle Brian Gakwa-Avu. Je suis étudiant à l'Université de Lille. On a beaucoup parlé des enfants qui sont nés dans l'idéologie et qui se battent tous les jours pour retrouver la lumière, retrouver la vérité. C'est un combat que je respecte. Mais on n'a pas parlé des enfants qui naissent dans des familles parfaitement saines, qui connaissent leurs histoires, mais à cause d'un manque d'information et un manque d'éducation, finissent par être trompés par des camarades une fois arrivés ici à l'université ou même au lycée. Du coup, il y a deux questions. Premièrement, pour le ministre Dr Bizima Anna, on apprécie beaucoup vos tweets, mais on remarque aussi surtout que à chaque fois que vous écrivez, on découvre une nouvelle vérité sur le génocide qu'on ne connaissait pas forcément. Des documents d'archives qu'on n'a pas forcément vus alors que c'était accessible. Du coup, la première question sera, on sait aujourd'hui que la télévision et la presse papier n'est plus la forme sous laquelle l'information se présente la plus pertinente. Je sais que aussi Oji le comprend. Du coup, quels efforts sont mis en place par le ministère pour que ces informations-là puissent être mises sous une forme où elles pourraient être répandues le plus facilement et toucher le maximum de personnes. Ça, c'est pour la première question. Et pour la deuxième, c'est au niveau de l'éducation. Que ce soit les enfants qui grandissent ici ou ceux qui ont étudié dans des systèmes internationaux, comme moi à Kigali, pour nous, le génocide, ça sera peut-être un chapitre dans notre cours d'histoire en terminale, alors que pour ceux des écoles publiques, ça sera une éducation qui va de la primaire jusqu'au lycée, leur permettant de comprendre toute la chronologie de l'histoire. Mais justement, cette asymétrie d'information fait que nous, on soit plus vulnérables au divisionnisme et qu'on mette en danger cette vision-là du pays. Du coup, quelles actions peuvent être prises pour lutter contre cette asymétrie, que ce soit les enfants des écoles internationales ou ceux qui grandissent dans la diaspora, pour qu'ils puissent mieux connaître leur histoire. Merci.
Après. Ils vont répondre. Ok, wait.
Thank you. My name is Chelsea, and I'm a part of the diaspora in Switzerland. My question is to the Minister Mukazayire, as she talks about different grant platforms for the youth, such as the Birthday Grants and Hang Up Pitch Fest. I wanted to know if there's a way to make these opportunities more accessible to Rwandans in the diaspora, particularly those in Europe, who don't necessarily live in Rwanda and want to invest or build businesses, as the diaspora also contributes significantly to the economy through, say, remittances. Thank you very much.
Murakoze. Nashakaga kugira icyo mvuga kuri channels dufite mpereye kuri Olivier na Rwanda Nordic TV, hanyuma n'igicaniro yo muri UK ibaho Jide Ruhashya. Hano twabonye Olivier, ariko icyifuzo cyanjye nuko twese uko turahangaha twajya tubafasha tukagira ibiganiro, ibyo dukuye hangaha ntitubigumisha hangaha twenyine ngo tubigumane. Hari benshi basigaye aho twaturutse, Ambassadeur François, Ministre Minubumwe, Interpeace, turabashimira cyane kuba mwabashije kuduhuriza hano, ariko turabizi ko hari abasubiye inyuma kubera inyota bari bafite, ariko kubera tutashoboye gukwirwa hangaha. Nasabaga ari uko twakoresha ziriya YouTube channels tugatanga amakuru, twe kwimana amakuru, twe gutuma Olivier na Ruhashya ari bo bonyine babigira umuzigo wabo. Cya kabiri, twabonye Eugenie, twabonye Barebe, twabonye Wizeye. Ni courage cyane kuzangaha kuduha ubuhamya bwanyu, ariko hashobora kuba hari abandi bicaye hano muri room basangiye amateka nabo twabonye hariya. Ntabwo twese twashoboraga kujya hariya kuri panel. Icyo nasabaga, abenshi tuzataha ejo, ntimugire ubwoba, ntimugire upfunwe. Hari minisitiri hariya, hari ba ambassadors banyu babazanye, hari Minister Nelly, mutinyuke mubasange, mubaganirize, mufungure imitima. Ngewe hari bakuru banyu twiganye, namenye ko hari abari hano baturutse mu gihugu cya Luxembourg batajyaga baza mu biganiro nk'ibi. Ndagushima Ambassador Mimoza, sinzi aho yicaye, ariko abo bana bazi gutera intambwe, singiye kubavuga amazina ariko byanshimishije kuko hari bakuru banyu twiganye. Nanjye muze kunsanga duhoberane, kandi mujye mukomeza mwegere abanyarwanda aho muri mwese. Minister Nelly, nakumenye muri 2016, ntabwo nari nzi histoire yawe 2016, kandi mba mu Rwanda. Nabonye Nelly turimo gutegura inama ya African Union, mbaza abantu ariko uyu ni umusirikare. Narebaga ukuntu atuyobora, ukuntu atubwira, ukuntu ategura iyo nama, mba very impressed n'iyo energy yari afite, kandi yari akiri muto. Mwumve namwe igihe byabereye, yavuze ko yabimenye muri 96, imyaka 10 mba mu Rwanda, ariko ntabwo nigeze menya aya mateka. Nagira ngo mbasabe uko turaha twese, niba ufite ikintu cyo gusangiza abandi kugira ngo tugarure babandi bafite ipfunwe, babandi bibaza ko ibyo ababyeyi bakoze bazabibazwa, cyangwa nk'uko babivuze bakomeza baheranwa n'ibyo kandi bidakwiye kubaheramo. Tubafashe gutera intambwe no gufata icyemezo gikwiye no gufata amahitamo akwiye, twubakiye ku buhamya bw'umumama nka Nelly na Barebe na Eugenie ndetse na Uwizeye. Ntabwo dukwiye kuva ahangaha tuvuga ngo dutegereze ko tuzajya muri UK kongera guhura. Nagira ngo nsabe bagenzi banjye ambassadors, nanjye mbyisaba, namwe communities, dukore aya mahuriro mu bihugu byacu, tubikore, tuzana abatabashije kuza, ntacyo bidusaba, ni ukubegera tukabatinyura bose, kandi twumva ko turi abanyarwanda nk'uko igihugu cyacu kibidutoza, ntawe uhejwe. Murakoze.
Murakoze. Hari ikibazo kimwe nabajijwe mu Kinyarwanda n'ikindi mu Gifaransa, ndabisubiza byombi. Icya mbere ni ikijyanye n'aho u Rwanda rugeze mu bumwe, ubwiyunge n'ubudaheranwa, ayo magambo atatu. Buri myaka 5 minu bumwe, ubwo ni Minisiteri y'Ubumwe bw'Abanyarwanda n'Inshingano Mboneragihugu, ikora ubushakashatsi bugamije kugaragaza ishusho y'aho izo nkingi 3 zigeze: ubumwe, ubwiyunge n'ubudaheranwa. Ni mahire kuko ubushakashatsi buheruka bwashojwe butangazwa mu kwezi kwa 11 umwaka ushize, bukorwa ku kigero ku gihe cy'imyaka 5. Ubu uko iyo shusho ibyerekana, tugeze kuri 95.3%. 95 ubwo ni imyumvire, ni ukuvuga uko abaturage basubiza aho babona bigeze. Hari abatubwira ngo ariko ubwo koko ngo tugeze kuri 95%, twebwe dukora ijanisha dukurikije ibisubizo abaturage baduhaye, uko baba babyumva aho bageze. Bo aho ni kumwe bw'Abanyarwanda. Mubona ko twazanyemo indi nkingi yitwa ubudaheranwa. Nabyo nagira ngo mbisobanure, mwakoze kubaza icyo kibazo, kuko akenshi ubwiyunge bureba uwakoze Jenoside n'uwo yayikoreye. Niko bikunze kumvikana ko utarakoreye undi cyaha, utaramwiciye, nta mpamvu yo kwiyunga nawe. Abantu benshi babyumva batyo, nubwo umuryango nyarwanda nawo ukeneye kwiyunga, ukeneye kwiyubaka, ariko hanini reconciliation ireba ibyo byiciro byombi, uwishe n'uwo yiciye. Ariko ubudaheranwa, resilience, bwo burakomeye, ntawe butareba. Munarebye ibi biganiro twagize hano, guhera mu gitondo twese n'abicara muri sale, buri wese afite igikomere cyangwa ibikomere byinshi bituruka ku mateka ye. Nta munyarwanda n'umwe ushobora kuvuga ko adafite igikomere, ntawe. Uwazaba kubeshya uzavuga gutyo. Baba abakoze Jenoside, ababakomokaho, abakorewe Jenoside, ababakomokaho, abahoze ari impunzi bagatahuka, buri twese amateka twanyuzemo twasanze yaduteye ibikomere. Ibyo bikomere rero tugomba kubikira kandi tugafasha n'abandi kubikira. Nuko umuryango nyarwanda uzakira, buri wese yakoze urwo rugendo rwa resilience, rwo gukira ibikomere afite. Aho rero turacyari inyuma gato, kuko icyo gipimo kijyanye na resilience, ubudaheranwa, nacyo twarakirebye, cyo kiri kuri 90.6%. Biraturuka he? Biraturuka ku mpamvu nyinshi. Harimo bamwe bumva ko ngo u Rwanda twararuretse ntabwo tukirushaka. Abo baribeshya, no kubwira ngo ntashaka u Rwanda, yabonye ubwene bw'igihugu runaka, nta segonda n'imwe badatekereza u Rwanda, batavuga u Rwanda, badasoma ibireba u Rwanda. Resilience rero dukeneye kuyizamuramo igipimo kinini cyane no kwiyumvamo. Ariko murumva ko dufite urugendo rwiza. Nsoza ku icyo ngicyo, nababwira ko mu myaka 15 ishize, kuko tumaze kwiyongeraho 13% guhera muri 2010 mu bumwe n'ubudaheranwa. Murumva ni igipimo cyiza, 13% mu myaka 10, mu myaka 15. Sorry, dukomereza aho rero. Ako 5% gasigaye niho ruzingiye, niho hari ibi bibazo byaganiriweho muri iyi paneli n'iyabanje, ni naho ni turiho tunavuga ahangaha. Aka 5% gasigaye kugira ngo tugere ku 100%, niho tugomba gushyira imbaraga nyinshi, twebwe ubwacu, imiryango yacu, inshuti zacu, abavandimwe n'abandi. Bon, ariko turi heza pe. Nababwira ko nko mu mwaka wa 2008 hishwe abacitse ku icumu rya Jenoside 160 mu mwaka umwe gusa, 2008. Ubu ngubu icyo kintu cyo kwica abacitse ku icumu mu Rwanda cyararangiye rwose. Aho bibaye akenshi usanga bitanashingiye ku ngengabitekerezo ya Jenoside, ahubwo akenshi ari n'amakimbirane hagati y'abantu. Ni urugero rumwe mbahaye rubereka ko urwo rugendo tumaze kugeraho mu mibanire, mu bumwe no mu budaheranwa. Abacitse ku icumu bicirwaga iki? Bicirwaga kubera ko bibutsaga amateka, ko batangaga ubuhamya mu butabera, ariko se bicwaga gusa, n'abahutu batangaga ubuhamya nabo baricwaga. Murumva urwo n'urugero mfashe ruri clear rubereka ko tumaze kugenda urugendo rwinshi cyane, kandi biraturuka kwizi gahunda nyinshi z'ibiganiro, z'imiyoborere myiza n'ibindi. Bon, pour la deuxième question, concernant les archives, en fait, on a beaucoup d'archives, ça c'est vrai, mais ils sont très variés, très diversifiés, très éparpillés. On n'a pas d'archives qu'on peut avoir de A à Z. Il faut vraiment passer beaucoup de temps pour trouver un document qui peut correspondre à un thème quelconque. Et moi, les archives que j'ai, c'est des archives que j'ai réunies depuis plusieurs années, depuis plus de 40 ans. Moi, j'ai 62 ans. Et sur les 62 ans, je pense que j'ai passé à peu près 40 ans en train de garder une lettre, un courrier, un document que je trouve. C'est des archives totalement personnelles. Mais ce que je suis en train de faire, je suis en train de les digitaliser. Et une fois que j'aurai terminé la digitalisation, je vais les mettre au public, consultable, et je suis en train de les classer aussi par thème. Puisque moi, un jour, je vais mourir. Je ne souhaite pas mourir, mais malheureusement, je vais mourir. Et il faut laisser ces traces-là. C'est pourquoi je fais l'effort toujours de documenter l'histoire, documenter les faits. Parce que le génocide des Tutsis n'a pas été un accident. Ça a été un événement, un projet d'extermination. Un projet se prépare, il s'exécute, il se planifie. Et sa négation, c'est la même chose, il se prépare. Et c'est ce que nous sommes en train de vivre. Donc, documenter les faits par des preuves, c'est important. C'est ce que j'essaie de faire et je vais continuer dans ce sens-là. Et je m'amuse même de constater, même tout à l'heure, je lisais sur X, il y a quelqu'un qui a tweeté en s'adressant au directeur général de l'UNESCO, parce qu'il nous a reçus avec M. l'ambassadeur François. Il dit, ce ministre que vous avez reçu hier, il hait les Hutus, il n'aime pas les Hutus, c'est un ennemi des Hutus, il sème la division. Ça, c'est une chanson, j'en suis habitué des milliers de fois. Mais la haine ne m'habite jamais. Moi, je documente les faits et les preuves. Et je ne trouve personne pour me contredire. Mais ils vont tous m'insulter. Ou bien inventer une histoire qui n'est pas la mienne. Il y a un prêtre qui s'appelle Fortunatus, c'est vous qui moi. Il a inventé une histoire totalement fallacieuse en disant que M. Bizimana, il a perdu sa maman très jeune, étant bébé. Il a été alimenté par une dame Hutu, et il a du sang Hutu dans ses veines, et regardez comment il est les Hutu. Mais ça, c'est absurde et c'est totalement faux. Mes deux parents, ils ont été Tutsis depuis qu'ils ont existé. Moi, je suis né dedans, dans cette qualification-là. Ils ont été massacrés le 21 avril 1994. Je n'ai jamais perdu de maman à bas âge. Mais cette histoire circule. Et il y a ceux qui la prennent comme une vérité d'évangile. Bon, donc, documentons les faits, on continue à refaire. Dernier point sur l'enseignement de l'histoire, l'éducation. Bon, j'ai beaucoup aimé la question du jeune étudiant de l'Université de Lille. Il est vrai qu'il y a des familles qui éduquent correctement les enfants. Et vous avez dit, vous n'en nous n'avons pas tellement parlé de cet aspect-là. Nous ne l'ignorons pas, il existe. Mais nous avons surtout pointé du doigt là où il y a le problème, là où il y a des blessures qu'il faut soigner, qu'il faut guérir. Il faut comprendre ça. Ceux qui sont dans le bon chemin, il faut continuer de cette manière-là. Alors, pour l'éducation, il est très important qu'on ait d'abord des manuels qui sont bien faits au niveau des faits et des preuves, les faits historiques et les preuves. Parce que notre histoire a été falsifiée par plusieurs acteurs. Falsifiée par la colonisation belge, falsifiée par des missionnaires, falsifiée par des politiciens du parmi Hutu et du MRND. L'ambassadeur Rugira vous en a parlé un peu dans son exposé ce matin. Donc, cette falsification de l'histoire a fait des victimes. Donc, il faut corriger les faits historiques, avoir de très bons manuels pour bien les documenter. Deuxième point, il faut former les enseignants. Parce qu'on peut avoir de très bons manuels, si on n'a pas des enseignants expérimentés, très bien formés, les cours d'histoire ne vont pas bien se transmettre tel que ça devrait se faire. Et on a ce problème au Rwanda. Et on a constaté que les enseignants des écoles secondaires ont eux aussi besoin d'être enrichis de connaissances historiques assez documentées. C'est ce que nous sommes en train de faire au fur et à mesure. Je terminerai en disant qu'il faut aussi faire très attention aux consultations que vous faites. Dans des universités, moi aussi j'ai fait des études en France, j'ai été formé ici. Je sais bien que les bibliothèques universitaires sont remplies de livres négationnistes. Parce que les négationnistes, ils ont des maisons d'édition ici en France et ils publient des ouvrages négationnistes et ils les éparpillent dans des universités. Donc faites très attention pour distinguer des livres qu'il faut lire tout en sachant que ce sont des livres corrects, puis des ouvrages qu'il faut lire tout en sachant que ce sont des ouvrages négationnistes, il faut les lire pour trouver des arguments qui sont dedans afin de pouvoir les contredire. Et si vous hésitez sur n'importe quel ouvrage, maintenant les réseaux sociaux sont très simples, tu peux même poser une question sur mon compte, sur le compte de Nelly, sur le compte de n'importe qui, on va vous répondre et vous éclairer. Merci.
I think there was a question from Angela who asked what contribution can they actively do or how can they know what to do or how to contribute. I think I will answer also that question, returning the question back. First of all, I guess from everything we discussed here, information shared here, I believe every young person should now be asking himself or herself, what is that I can also give, which muhigo am I giving myself to contribute to the development of my country? But now, how can you do it? First of all, most of you have embassies, and I really think sometimes we don't realize how much effort our leadership has been doing to make sure that we have embassies across the world, because that is one of the ways of making sure Rwandans can have access to their country. So I can say easily you can reach out to the embassy, offer your service, offer your knowledge, offer what you think you can do. Inquire, ask more questions. Secondly, we also have platforms. As governments, we have ministries, we have also website, emails, where you can also ask or express what you think you want to do. Third, you can come to your country and also come, go through Ministry of Foreign Affairs, come straight to the Ministry of Sport. It's even easy. We just in the stadium, Amahoro Stadium, so you just come. The office is there. And also, or go to any other institution, offer what you think you can do. So I believe there's so many platforms. The first step is just that willingness and reaching out, and then we're able to figure out and work together on what you can contribute. But beyond that, I think the biggest answer or action is to say, what is that I can do within the ability, the knowledge, the platform, the networks I have, and I'm sure you can figure out and find out something you can do. Thank you. Oh, then there was a question, how can the facilities offered to the young people be accessible to Rwandans living in the diaspora? First of all, we prioritize projects that are going to be beneficial and have impact in the country. So you can still get access to those facilities, but your deliverable or your project should be at some point having an impact or return on investment in the country. It doesn't mean it has to necessarily only be happening in the country. There are people who have businesses that are not necessarily in Rwanda, but if you're employing young people in Rwanda, if I'm just thinking out loud, so maybe we can discuss further, but the first line we look at is that it should be producing jobs, it should be producing revenues that are going to benefit the development of young people, the development of the country also. Because first of all, we are looking at the country. Ija kurisha ihera he? Kurugo. Thank you.
mureke dushimire rero ino panel batugihaye ibiganiro byiza cyane. Yeah, let's go. Nizere ko byabafashije kandi byabubatse. Then
I think you all agree that it was.
Uje twivuga